The temperatures were just getting like absolutely insane. Yes, challenging, but like also borderline like unhealthy. Final like straw was during that treadmill session. I finished the session. I started to walk like almost immediately, like projectile vomited everywhere. Hi guys, so I'm sorry it has been a long while since my last video, but we are up in Montana, so that is the update. Myself and Anthony and Lily left for Montana. We got here about 3 weeks ago, and I'll explain why we're up here in just a moment. But upload speed here, our Wi-Fi is not great, so the upload speed is pretty slow. So getting videos uploaded so that you can watch them has been challenging, but I think we figured out how to get it to go a little bit faster. So you should be seeing videos more often from here on out. As I mentioned, we are in Montana. So Anthony's family has, his mom has a house up here. We're on Lake Placid, which is near Sealy Lake. More than likely, many of you have no idea where that was because I would have no idea if I hadn't been coming up here and visiting for the past couple years. But it is about an hour outside of Missoula. So that's where we fly into when we're coming here. So we did come for a vacation in the beginning of the summer, almost directly after World Championships, just to kind of spend some time with Anthony's grandfather and just kind of visit the house here. That one was for vacation. Where we are right now, we'll probably be here for approximately 6 weeks. I don't think I can call 6 weeks a vacation anymore as much as I would like to. So there's a lot of reasons why we're up here, but a big one is I completely forgot and fully underestimated how challenging training in the heat is. So we were in Vegas, which is where we live now. The temperatures were just getting like absolutely insane. I was really suffering continuing to train. I am the majority of the time in charge of Lily during the day. I can't be going to like a gym throughout the day in terms of getting that training done, which means I was doing it at home. And the day we left, it was 114 degrees. So I was doing a lot of my training either in the backyard or in the garage. And the garage, we have like a swamp cooler in there, and it does make somewhat of a difference, but it's still very, very hot in there. And I was having some, yes, challenging, but like also borderline, like it seemed like unhealthy kind of the conditions that I was training in. So we finally pulled the trigger to come back up to Montana, which I am so aware at how privileged we are to have the opportunity to do that, and that like both Anthony and I work remotely and that we had somewhere that we could go that is cooler weather. But the day we pulled the trigger in terms of saying, all right, that's it, like we do have to leave for a little bit, I was doing a session on the treadmill, and I've been wearing a core sensor which helps monitor my core temperature while I'm training. So my core temperature and my skin temperature, and for many days in a row was getting into very unhealthy heat levels. And the final like straw was during that treadmill session. It was the core temp had broached and stayed over a 102, which is like really not great. I finished the session. I started to walk and like do a cool down, and I all of a sudden got like this like really big pain in my stomach, and I won't get too graphic, but like almost immediately like projectile vomited everywhere. So I think I was playing with fire in terms of with my health and like potential heat stroke. So yeah, we made the decision that day that we were going to leave Vegas for a good chunk of the summer in order to be able to maybe not get the most ideal training, because I won't have as much access to some of the things that I normally do while I'm up here, but at least it's safer and healthier, and I know that I can do things and come out of it in a good place. So that was like the big reason why we left, and we'll be here until the unforeseeable future. So I actually didn't buy a plane ticket back. But other reasons why we would be here. So Lily's cousins, like Anthony's older sister and her kids, are here for a couple weeks throughout the summer. So it is like a really good opportunity for us as well to have them spend more time together and play. And so we're 3 weeks in, and her cousins are 10 10 and 8, and Lily's 3, so they're quite a bit older, but they're absolutely amazing with her, and they involve her in everything, and she's so excited to be following them around and playing. I don't know, I'm sure a lot of people can relate. It brings a lot of joy to be able to see her having so much fun with them, and at the same time, like, I love it, and then I'm also sad because, I don't know, selfishly, like, I'm used to her wanting to spend all her time with me, like always just kind of being attached to my hip, and since we've been here, I'm not the cool thing for her anymore. She has her older cousin who's 8, who's being so good and like involving her in everything, and that's all the only person she wants to spend time with right now. So I love it, and at the same time, like, she's here and I miss her. So I don't know, I'm so used to her being right next to me all the time, and she's gone off to greener passages for a little bit. But actually her cousins are leaving tomorrow, and we're probably going to be spending like another 3 weeks here while they're gone. So I'll get to have her back for a little bit, although she'll still have Mima and TT, and my mom and my sister actually coming to visit for a week next week. So she'll still have like other people that she's really excited to see. But I am excited, thinking that she might start following me around again. We are still technically in an off season. The first major of the season is Hamburg, and that is the first weekend of October. So that's currently what I'm trying to prepare for. So there are some challenges being here. We do have a lot of equipment, but it's definitely not to the extent that I would have at home. And I am about an hour away from an actual gym. So I don't have access to normal sleds or anything like that. So I did order a sled that has wheels, but it's for sure not the same thing as like a normal push sled. And then I have another drag sled that I can use to like walk backwards, but it's not the same as if I were trying to be practicing on the type of sleds that we'd be using in a HYROX race. So I'm missing out on that element. I think like one thing that potentially people might be interested in is knowing that I was going to be gone from like things that I normally use for training, and I didn't want to make a lot of major purchases to keep up my training, but I was willing to make one. So I chose to order a ski erg from Concept 2, and like that's not a small purchase by any means. So I think like one of the big things or big questions that people have when they're thinking about training, like if you were to have like one thing to help with your HYROX training, like what would it be that you would get? And I haven't been in that position before until now. So I chose, like, knowing that I was going to be away from the normal things I train with for about 6 weeks, I chose to buy a ski erg. And for me, the reason was like I can still run here, like there is a treadmill, and the ski erg, while the rower, there's a lot that you can do in terms of training. I think like the skier gives me something different and like different muscle groups. So they're both technically like full body. There is a little bit more upper body used in the ski erg, where like the rower is more leg dominant, and I'm already doing a lot of leg work. Also the timing in terms of like when you use each implement within a HYROX race, like the rower you don't use until like the middle of the race, and the ski erg we use in the beginning. And while the dynamics of a race can change currently, the way the race is run, there's quite a bit more importance, I would say, put onto the ski, because it is the first station within a HYROX. So if you lose contact within the first station, you can no longer make certain moves, where if you stay in contact through that first station, you have the ability to be the one making moves where people have to respond to, versus if you fall behind, now you're responding to moves without being the one making them. Depending on the type of athlete you are and your strengths and your weaknesses, sometimes you do have to let people go for the ski erg in order to maximize your potential in a race. For me, I really want to stay in contact within that first station because I don't want to be responding to moves the entirety of the race. Like I want to also have the option to be the one making moves. So being able to stay on top of training in terms of being comfortable on a ski erg was something I decided was going to be more important than the rower. were. While yes, I would love to have both, I only wanted to buy one at this point. Not to say that I haven't been searching on Marketplace to see if I could find one at a lesser price. I am still looking. But yeah, if I were to choose one over the other, or even just like one thing technically that I really wanted to make sure I have while training for HYROX, it turns out it was a ski erg. And I don't think I could have fully answered that question truthfully until I was put in the position. So yeah, that was my answer. So in terms of what I have been doing for training, I'm doing my best to keep it as similar as to what it would be as if I were at home. So I still have all of my hard days on the same days. For the most part, I've actually made some exceptions so that we could do some fun little family races as well. But I've kept the structure for somewhat the same, and maybe I've switched around days here and there. I've kept my strength the same. Like I do have access to barbells and dumbbells, and we brought kettlebells and D-balls and things of that sort. So I'm still doing all of that. All of my machine threshold work is now done on a ski erg, where it used to be kind of spread out through the ski erg and the rower and like even sometimes the bike. So hopefully my ski erg is really good by the end of this. I don't think it's going to change that much, honestly, within 6 weeks, but at least I won't be losing anything there. And I'm doing lots of running. The times that I run have changed. The reasoning behind that is we're in a little bit more of a remote location here, and with what we've been told from like the National Park Services and Wildlife Services, there are 13 known grizzlies in our area. Grizzlies are known to be more aggressive than like a brown bear or a black bear, where brown bear and black bear probably won't attack you unless you're like by their young or they feel threatened. A grizzly is significantly more aggressive and will attack. So in our area, 12 are collared, which means they know where 12 of them are at all times. The 13th that doesn't have a collar is apparently the biggest and most aggressive. So that one, its location is unknown besides its last sighting. So its last sighting is actually on the other side of the lake. So I'll show you that. Its last sighting is like on the other side of the lake over there. So one of the things I'm doing is I'm not running on that side of the lake. I'm making sure to stay on this side. There is a thing called bear spray that you are supposed to carry when you're out. So it's a can. It's not super fun to run with. It's about like this big. You would like pull a trigger and you spray it, and it sprays all at once. I think the spray all comes out in like this giant canister within like 12 seconds or something like that. Don't quote me on it. I'm also changing like the time of the day that I would run. So I'm making sure to not run like early in the morning or late in the evening, because that's when they're more likely to be active. I am running in the middle of the day because of the temperature is much cooler here. I can do that. I kind of joke in terms of like watching for bears, but it's actually pretty serious. You do not want to get caught around a grizzly, that's for sure. And it's a real thing to take into consideration. So yeah, running with bear spray, changing the time of the day that I'm running, that's kind of some of the adjustments that I've made just in terms of like the running that I'm putting in. So I mentioned how I have flip-flopped some days. So Saturdays are often one of my harder days. Last Saturday, I did change things around. So it was not so that I had like an easier day, because we signed up there's like a community man-powered race for the people that live along the lake. So everybody meets at one house, and you just bring any sort of boat that is man-powered. So it can't be like a sailboat or a motorboat or anything like that. Or you could swim too. There were actually 2 swimmers, so they didn't even have anything, but you just show up. So there's all different types of ways to go about this race. Anthony and Lily, one of Lily's cousins, took the 2 hydro bikes. I stuck Lily in the kayak with me. But other things we saw, so there were people on a canoe. There were a lot of people on paddle boards. I'd say the most popular was kayaks. There were 2 swimmers. So the way the race works is everybody starts at one of the houses on the lake, and then there are 5 different houses within that cove area that you're stopping at the docks for. And at each dock you get a token, a card, like a playing card. So at the end of the race, you now have 5 cards, and one of the things that you could win is you could win the best poker hand. Lily and I did not win best poker hand. It was a race in itself. Lily and I finished 14th, I believe. She, I think, enjoyed more than anything collecting all the little tokens at each dock. So some of the things we got, like we got a pair of sunglasses. She loved those because they were different colors, and she got blue, which was her current favorite color. Anthony actually won the race. So he took first place, and I think he had the second best poker hand. I think he ended up with 2 aces. One of our members fell in. Tarragon fell in the water. She was the one who was on like the elliptical. But yeah, so that was last weekend. And today we are dropping Anthony off at the airport because he is actually going over to London for the week. So Lily and I are taking him into Missoula, and he will be in London for a coaching summit, the Red Bulls coaching summit, and he'll come back in a week from today. Let's see, my next thing coming up. I'm not 100% sure if there's going to be something before this, but I currently have my eye on a trail race that is a race to the top, which if you've seen any of my previous videos is definitely more my cup of tea than anything, because it means I only have to race up and I don't have to do any of the down, besides obviously getting myself back down the mountain, but I don't have to do the racing down. So the one I'm looking at will be September 1st. I'd say I'm about 95% sure I'm going to do it, so I'll definitely talk more about it and in detail in the next video to kind of show some of the things that I'm doing to like help prepare me for it, and exactly like the length of it and like the amount of elevation gain, and of course where it's going to be. So stay tuned for that. If you are enjoying any of this content, and if you want to help keep me on track for making sure I get more done, help incentivize me, I would really appreciate it if you press that like button and subscribe to the channel if you feel so inclined. Bye guys.